Max was a puzzle enthusiast. His eyes gleamed with excitement every time he began a new puzzle, imagining how each piece would fit perfectly with the next to form a beautiful picture. One sunny afternoon, Max chose a puzzle depicting a majestic castle surrounded by lush green forests and sparkling rivers. He spread the pieces out on the dining table, his mind racing with excitement. He started fitting the first few pieces together and got into a rhythm. However, just as the castle began to take shape, he noticed something odd. A piece was missing. He searched around the table, under the chairs, and even on the floor. The missing piece was nowhere to be found. Frustrated, Max scratched his head and muttered to himself, "But it was right here." Just then, his little sister Lily bounced into the room, her eyes filled with curiosity and a mischievous grin. "What's wrong, Max?" she asked, noticing his puzzled look. "A piece of my puzzle is missing," Max replied, pointing at the incomplete section of the castle. Lily giggled and whispered, "Maybe it's magic. Maybe the piece vanished to make the puzzle more exciting." Max raised an eyebrow. "Magic?" he echoed, and then chuckled. "Magic isn't real, Lily." But Lily was persistent. "You never know, Max." She waved her hand dramatically, imagining spells and colors swirling in the air. Although Max wasn't convinced about the magic, he couldn't deny his sister's enthusiasm was infectious. He decided to approach their missing puzzle piece as an adventure rather than a problem. They set out on a quest, turning the house upside down, searching under rugs, behind the sofa, inside books, and even trying to entice the piece out with a cookie. The adventure was full of laughter, as Lily pretended to be a wizard, casting spells to reveal secret hiding places, and Max played along, pretending to be her brave knight. Just as Max was about to give up hope, Lily squealed, "Look," and pointed at something sparkly at the windowsill. The sunlight was casting a little glow on the missing puzzle piece. Max rushed over and gleefully picked up the piece. "Found it," he exclaimed, waving it triumphantly. "Well, maybe it was magic after all." Lily laughed happily as they completed the puzzle together, making the castle whole once more. From that day on, Max always invited Lily to join his puzzling adventures, because with her, each missing piece became a little magical mystery. Once upon a time, young Max had a curious mind. He loved solving puzzles and mysteries, just like a detective. One sunny afternoon, Max found himself facing a puzzling situation. His favorite puzzle set was missing. Max decided to act like a great detective and solve the mystery himself. He put on his imaginary detective hat, grabbed his magnifying glass, and sat at his little desk. "First things first," Max said to himself. "I need to create a map." So, he grabbed his crayons and started sketching a map of his room, marking every spot where he had last played with the puzzle. With the map ready, Max began to explore his room, checking off each place he had marked. He pondered, the puzzle was definitely here by the toy chest. He crawled under the bed, peeked into the closet, and even searched behind the curtains. Alas, the puzzle was nowhere to be found. Max knew it was time to gather clues. So, he decided to interview his little sister Lily, who was in the room when he last had the puzzle. "Lily," he began in his best detective voice, "did you see anything strange when I was working on my puzzle?" Lily thought for a moment and then nodded eagerly. "I saw our cat, Whiskers, over by your puzzle box," she said. "He was sniffing around a lot." "Interesting," Max mused. "Thank you, Lily." With a new clue, Max formed a theory. Perhaps Whiskers had taken an interest in the puzzle. Max decided to follow the most likely suspect, his playful cat. He followed Whiskers to his favorite napping spot, but didn't find anything. Then he checked Whiskers' secret hideout under the sofa. "Aha!" Max exclaimed as his eyes met a familiar sight directly under the sofa. There was his puzzle box, safe and sound, just as he'd suspected. Max thanked Whiskers for his involvement in the mystery and declared the case solved. I might not have saved the day from an evil villain, Max chuckled as he petted Whiskers, but I found my favorite puzzle. And from that day, Max became known as the young detective, solving tiny mysteries one crayon map at a time. Once upon a time, in a cozy little house, there lived three adventurous friends: Benny the bear, Luna the lamb, and Oliver the owl. Benny was big and brave, Luna was curious and clever, and little Oliver, with his impressive wisdom, was always the thinker of the group. One sunny afternoon, as they sat giggling and playing a board game, Luna's keen eyes spotted something unusual. Look, paw prints on the carpet, she exclaimed. Intrigued, Oliver said, these don't look like our paw prints. They're small and mysterious. Let's follow them and find out what they lead to, roared Benny, excitedly. Agreeing on an adventure, they rose from their game board and began their clue trail journey. Step by step, they followed the tiny paw prints that led them to the kitchen. The trail was mixed with bits of sparkling puzzle dust, shimmering brightly. Amazing, said Luna, picking up a pinch of puzzle dust and sprinkling it around with delight. As they continued, the prince took them to the living room, leading right under the giant cozy couch. Benny, with his strong paws, lifted the couch, revealing more puzzle dust scattering across the floor. Look, it leads towards the TV. Oliver hooted, fluttering his wings with excitement. Behind the TV was a tiny door, hardly noticeable until the trio stood before it. Luna, full of curiosity, reached her paw out and opened the door. To their amazement, right inside was the grand puzzle palace, the secret home of Tommy the Tinkerer Mouse. Tommy, with his tiny spectacles and a cheerful wave, greeted them. Welcome, friends, he said. I see you've found my tinkering room. It's where I build puzzles for everyone to solve. The friends spent the rest of the afternoon exploring the wonders of Tommy's puzzle palace, solving the riddles, and playing with the puzzles Tommy delighted in making. As twilight approached, Benny, Luna, and Oliver waved goodbye to Tommy, filled with laughter and ready to return to their cozy home, dreaming of more clues and trails to follow. And so, the adventurers promised each other another day of delight, knowing that the next mysterious clue was just around the corner, waiting to be discovered. Once upon a time in a small town, lived two friends named Max and Lily. They were an inseparable duo, always exploring new things and helping each other out. Max had bright red hair and was known for his curiosity. Lily, with her sparkling blue eyes, was clever and thoughtful, always finding ways to solve problems. One day, Max was keen to complete his jigsaw puzzle. He flipped the last few pieces over on the floor, but realized one piece was missing. He tried reaching under the couch where he thought it might have slipped, but no matter how much he stretched, his arms weren't long enough. He needed a helping hand. So Max called out to his trusty friend, Lily. Lily, can you help me find the last piece? I think it's under the couch, but I can't reach it. Lily scampered over with a cheeky grin. Let's solve this puzzle's mystery together. I have an idea. She darted to her room and returned with two handy tools, a ruler and a flashlight. They both knelt down, and Lily shone the flashlight under the couch, illuminating the dark space. There it is, exclaimed Max as the flashlight beam fell on the puzzle piece tucked beneath a strand of carpet. Together, they figured out how to retrieve it. Max held the flashlight steady, so Lily could use the ruler to deftly slide the piece out from its hiding spot. It took some teamwork and a few giggles as they maneuvered the piece until it was within reach. Once they had the piece, Max jumped up with joy. Hooray! We did it, Lily, he cheered, hugging his friend. And with the final piece in place, the puzzle was complete. Max grinned at Lily. Thanks for your help. You're the best. Lily smiled back. Anytime. Max, teamwork always works. That day, Max and Lily learned one of life's valuable lessons. Sometimes you can't do everything on your own, but with a friend, anything is possible. On a sunny afternoon, Max sat in his room surrounded by puzzle pieces scattered everywhere. His brows furrowed as he struggled to connect them into the image of a magical castle. Despite his previous attempts, he couldn't find where the pieces fit together. Just then, his best friend Lily walked in, a smile on her face, and arms filled with books. "Hey, Max, what are you up to?" she asked, noticing the confusion on his face. Max sighed. "I've been trying to solve this puzzle for hours, but it's so tricky. I feel like I'm stuck." Lily looked at the puzzle and nodded. "I can see it's a tough one. How about we solve it together, step by step? Sometimes all it takes is another set of eyes to see things differently." The offer was comforting to Max. He remembered how many times Lily had helped him before, either with homework or other little challenges. Together, they started grouping pieces with similar colors and patterns. Lily showed Max how to work from the edges inward. Every piece they connected seemed like a tiny victory. As the sun began setting, Max could see the castle taking shape. "Wow, Lily, it's working. We're almost done," Max exclaimed, feeling excitement replace doubt. Finally, after placing the last piece, Max and Lily beamed in triumph. The magical castle gleamed back at them in all its jigsaw glory. Max learned that sometimes asking for help and approaching something step by step were the smartest choices. "We did it, Lily," Max cheered, hugging her. "Thank you so much. I couldn't have done it without you." Lily giggled. "Teamwork makes the dream work. Now let's celebrate." She pulled out a box of cookies she had brought earlier, ready for a sweet reward. As they munched happily, Max asked, "What's next on our agenda, partner?" Max grinned. "I'm in. With a little teamwork, we can conquer any puzzle." Max and Lily spent the rest of the evening planning their next puzzle mission. Their laughter echoed in the room, filled with the aroma of freshly baked cookies. It was a sweet end to a victorious day.